not Carson City.
Perhaps it's from Bixby, maybe?
Oh!
Nope, sorry. Actually, Fuyin figures out it's from the muling station, prompting Christine.
Hey guys, my name's Dan, and today's reaction comes from Dead Meat. This is Tremors 4: The Legend Begins Kill Count. Now, unlike the first three movies, this takes place in a much different timeline, features Michael Gross, but not quite the character we're used to seeing him play. And how is that going to affect the outcome of this movie? Well, we're going to have to wait and see from Zoran on that, and I will give my final thoughts on that at the end of this video. But before we get into it though, for those of you who are new, I put out reactions every single day, react a bit of everything, including many more from Dead Meat. So if you like wasting your day, you're bound to find more things that you enjoy. So please go right below this video, let me know how does this rank on the list of other Tremors movies, then click that like button, the subscribe button, every notification bell. All those things really helps out my channel. And then go on over and support Dead Meat if you haven't already. I'll leave a link to his channel down in the description. And without any further ado, let's go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm Zoran Gavoich's great-grandfather Hiram, and today we are getting Back to the Future 3 on the Tremors franchise with the Old West prequel, Tremors 4: The Legend Begins. Released in 2004, Tremors 4 marks the final film produced by the original team at Stampede Entertainment. Steve Wilson returned to his directing chair from Tremors 2, and Brent Maddock and Nancy Roberts returned as producers and co-creators of the story, though Maddock was more focused on finishing Tremors the series at this point. With its completion of the Graboid life cycle, everyone expected Tremors 3 to be the final film, but Universal said, we want Tremors 4 with or without you. The team decided it'd be with them, and rather than go all Eevee and introduce a new Graboid water evolution, they did a prequel set in the Old West.
And to my total shock, everybody said, oh, that's a great idea.
Much like Back to the Future 3, this movie has grown on me over time. I mean, it is the first one that actually shows a Graboid on the poster. That's gotta count for something. In a lot of ways, Tremors 4 is about going back to the basics of the franchise. Gone are the shriekers and ass blasters, and thankfully the CGI. After an unfavorable reaction to the digital effects in Part 3, the team at Stampede decided to go fully practical, only using CGI to blend miniature puppets and full-size Graboids. This is a big reason why I prefer Tremors 4 to its predecessor. Sure, the even smaller budget and truncated shooting time can still be felt, and the writing isn't as well crafted as the original, having again been written by a third party, in this case 6 Feet Under's Scott Buck. But the characters are likable and the Graboids look fantastic, thanks to the famed K&B effects team who stepped in to replace Amalgamated Dynamics. Set a century before the original Tremors, a series of mysterious murders at the local mine bring the mine's owner to the town of Rejection, Nevada. The owner is Hiram Gummer, great-grandfather to Burt Gummer. But this prim East Coast dandy is nothing like his descendant. He can't shoot, is never prepared, and doesn't even wear an Atlanta Hawks hat. What follows is a Wild West adventure the Tremors way, filled with gunslingers, planning scenes, and Graboids, both diet and regular. How was that?
Well, that was great, but you know, let's lose the accent. I think it's gonna get old.
Well, this is how I talk. Really? All right, you got me. Had you fooled though, right?
No.
Will this trip to the past be the high noon showdown we deserve, or will this sequel leave the franchise unforgiven? Let's find out and get to the kills.
I like that. I like that reference.
The movie begins with more simple titles, but in an old-timey font because we're in 1889, y'all. And put away your booze because we're surrounded by miners. Our brown-collar workers include Juan Padilla, who dreams of owning a ranch one day. His co-worker Victor dreams of being added to the kill count. And thanks to an off-screen struggle, we learn that dreams really do come true. Juan tells the mine's foreman about Victor's disappearance, and his response is to be sucked up into the ceiling and a nice twist on the normal sucked underground kill. Juan goes to help, but only pulls back the foreman's headless body. Damn, Tremors 4, back to basics. Ha! I like it. Hearing the screams, the other miners assume there's been a cave-in and go to help. Juan then does his best Mrs. O'Leary's cow impression, while 6 more miners are heard being eaten off screen by a title card. Or in a more accurate way, Graboids. The opening credits hail the return of Jay Ferguson, composer of my much-beloved Tremors 2 score. This time he's written a rollicking Western theme that, despite being synthesized, gives the film some nice adventure-y energy.
I love it.
The old-timey photographs fade away to reveal we're in Rejection, Nevada. Filmed in Acton, California instead of Lone Pine, again for budgetary reasons. This is also the 4th time they've had to build Chang's Market from scratch. And I'm of course including the one they built in Mexico for the TV series, which my great-grandson will one day cover, perhaps, maybe. Everyone seems to be getting the hell out of Dodge, much to the chagrin of Pyongling Chang and his son Fu Yin, both ancestors of Walter Chang from the first film, and the founders of Chang's Market. Pyong says everyone is leaving because the mine's been closed, but his son brings up a valid point.
Maybe we need a different name.
Listen, kid, there's only so many words that rhyme with perfection, and I'm pretty sure Las Vegas holds the trademark for Erection, Nevada. Inside Chang's, Juan drools over a mighty fine derby, which Pyong says he can take on credit.
No credits.
This frugal snake impersonator is Pyong's wife, Luan, who's worried the town's troubles will mean they'll have to head back to China. But this local drunk, named Old Fred as an homage to Old Fred in the first film, offers hope and says the mine is too valuable to stay closed. Old Fred's played by J.E. Freeman, previously seen on the kill count getting a splitting headache in Alien Resurrection. The folks receive a telegram saying the mine's owner is coming to town, and his name is Hiram Gummer, or alternatively,
Hiram Guma.
still better than what Michael Gross's sister called him in the last movie.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goober.
The coach arrives the next day to reveal our hero, a pile of luggage and a bike. Oh, and their sidekick, this slender man who's taking far too long to turn around to reveal himself to be Hiram Gummer, the great-grandfather of Burt Gummer. He's once again played by Michael Fomo Gross.
After 7 years of family ties, I said to myself, I can't see myself playing another character for that length of time. And yet if you look at Burt, although it's not been continuous, it's been 13 years of Burt Gummer.
And originally Michael Gross wanted to go full Tootsie and play the great-grandmother of Burt. But director Steve Wilson said, maybe we save that for part 5. Note, they do not save that for part 5. Hiram meets the residents of Rejection, including Tacopa, the Chang family, Old Fred, and Christine Lord, the owner of the Loco Hotel. Christine's played by Sarah Botsford, another As the World Turns alum. And although she's not a geologist, her Reba-esque hair and style says she'll work fine for a romantic subplot.
That's just dandy.
The townsfolk inform Burt that the mine's closed because of all the workers that died, prompting a fancy man take on a famous Burt Gummer line.
I feel I've not been privy to critical, most needful information.
Some other info you weren't privy to is that back in Tremors 1, it was actually production designer Ivo Cristante who decided Perfection was once a mining town, although not for silver.
We used that idea, but we said it was a silver mine. We'd forgotten it was a talcum mine.
Christine mentioned 17 miners were killed in one day, but since we only saw those 8, that's all we're counting. You got a problem with that? Take it up with James.
Yeah. No,
Christine
I'm
escorts
good.
Hiram to the hotel, passing a primitive wall of fucking guns. And he proves to be a real dick by
that's
complaining
callback.
about his lodgings and teaching Fu Yin shitty lessons.
Anyone can be taken advantage of, and if you can, do.
Well, fuck you, Hiram. I miss Grumpy Burt. Later at Chang's, Juan recounts his miner story, while Hiram fantasizes about building a freeway and killing Roger Rabbit. But turns out he's not ready for Wabbit season,
I don't know Nefira.
making him literally the only
Loving all these references.
person who isn't packing in this town. Even Fu Yin the Menace is armed. Hiram's also unskilled when it comes to equestrianism, so we can see he's got a lot to learn before his family tree branches out to Burt. Hiram and Juan meet up with the last folks willing to help them investigate the mines. The Walter brothers, Brick and Stoney, this human spittoon, Soggy, and the innuendoly named Big Horse Johnson.
Indeed.
Brick must also be the ancestor of that ska punk from part 3, because he too is played by director Steve Wilson's son, Matthew Seth
I
Wilson.
forgot
Under Hiram's reluctant
about
supervision,
him.
They enter the mine past bastard skellies left over from Halloween Horror Nights. And after a brief bit of hat shopping to continue the whole Juan likes hats bit, they reach the end of the mine to find no sign of the unknown killers. Hiram declares the mine's safe to reopen. That night they set up camp and Soggy busts out the old squeeze box. But since the boys aren't polka fans, they send Soggy Al Yankovic off to play for the horses. The accordion music accompanies some simple character backstory. Juan wants a ranch, and Hiram's a spoiled rich man.
You always had everything, didn't you?
Several of everything.
I just like to get one of something.
And what is that thing exactly?
I just want me.
Not tonight.
The backstory soundtrack is cut short when Soggy is killed off
I love
screen
it.
and a PA tosses his accordion like they're chucking graboid guts. The horses, having seen the first film, book it out of there. Brick
Smart
goes to find
horses.
Soggy, but ends up getting eaten himself as another PA tosses dirt like it's wedding rice. His brother Stoney then heads over to discover a new MIDI stage in the graboid life cycle. Oh, baby graboid! Also known as a dirt dragon, shooter, or grablet. Grablite? In any case, they were designed by K&B Effects under the direction of Greg Nicotero, the man responsible for all the best effects ever. But more specifically, he's worked on Army of Darkness, From Dusk Till Dawn, The Walking Dead, Jason Goes to Hell, Day of the Dead, Bride of Reanimator. I can do this all day.
Sure
But
can.
credits aside, he followed Amalgamated Dynamics' lead on going back to nature when designing the baby graboids.
So we made them look like grubs, where they had these infantile little mandibles and little tiny nubs of teeth growing.
The gruesome graboid grubs chow down on Stoney's arms like a Skull Island carnictus, dragging Stoney back to the earth for whence he was named. Juan arms himself with a pickaxe, basically a vampire stake in this franchise. Right! And invites the babyoid to meet the missus with a nice cup of tea. It enthusiastically accepts, before remembering that chamomile messes with its asthma. The men fire shots at the creature until it reverses the film and heads back underground. It resurfaces and lunges at Hiram, who blocks it with his hammock. Good thing he stopped by Mary Ann's hammocks down at the hammock complex on 3rd. It retreats and gears up for another attack on Juan, but it pickaxed the wrong hat lover to fight. And we add our first kill to Bert's hunting log with this graboid baby. They die like the big ones too. Hiram and Juan head to a rock for safety and call for Big Dick Horseman Johnson face, or whatever the fuck his name is, to join them. But on his way over, he's taken out from the sides, Raptor style, in a great physical stunt that ends with more off-screen screams and a hand being sucked under the ground. Hope you enjoy Big Horse Johnson. He's a mouthful. Safe on their residual boulder, Hiram and Juan start to learn the rules we Tremors fans have tattooed on our backs. They have no eyes, they hunt by vibration, smell terrible, never feed them after midnight, you know, etc. Steve Wilson likened this learning to similar scenes in vampire movies.
The hook in a vampire movie is the audience knows the rules going in, and they're waiting to see how the people figure out the rules.
With another hat lost, Juan and Hiram head back to town using the solid rock ridges nearby.
Are you balding, fair-skinned, a tiny child who lives on a water tower? Well, it don't matter who you are, you need a hat. Hats have been around since prehistoric times, and they're not going anywhere. Sure, they can be hard to hold on to, but when you find that certain special one, you will be literally brimming with confidence. So don't let any hiss and misses stop you from buying a hat today. Hats, they're fedorable.
In town, Jacopa digs a flagpole hole that Christine points out as a potential plot hole.
Does it concern you that Nevada hasn't yet adopted a flag?
We will one day.
Well, you're gonna be waiting a while since they didn't actually adopt one until 1991. And basically it's blue, just, you know, blue. Fu Yin is on Warner Brothers guard duty when he spots Juan and Hiram returning to town to gab about graboids.
Those are the most savagerous beasts I've ever seen.
Savagerous? That's a terrible name. You know what? Let's keep the naming to the Chang family, thank you very much.
Dragons. Dirt to Dragons.
Which was also the name of the Flash-based video game they released with this movie. It was, not good.
Oh, yeah, that looks terrible.
Next day, Jacopa polishes up his peace offering from Jerry Seinfeld.
Handsome, no?
Oh, very.
It's me.
I think he looks more like old Chief Woodenhead from Creepshow 2, but, you know, to each their own. Hiram tries to fix his velocipede, but when he can't, Fu Yin comes through for the fee of $5, which is about $138 with inflation. It's a steep cost, but Fu Yin is the only bike repair boy in town. And like Hiram once said,
anyone can be taken advantage of, and if you can, do.
Hoisted by his own petard and also out of cash, Hiram gives Fu Yin the bike and goes all Stephen Keaton to teach him how to ride it. And Hiram Gummer's heart grew 3 sizes that day. 1 month later, we set up a steam traction engine for later use, since Steve Wilson is a huge train lover in real life.
I'm still making movies for the 12-year-old me, you know.
Fu Yin searches for little shits in the well while Christine calls in Hiram's tab. He reveals that he's no longer rich. His coin, watch, and cufflinks are all he has left since his father sank all their money into the now closed silver mine. She feels sorry and a little sexy for him. That night, Short Round discovers that his buddy Dr. Jones has finally returned. Oh wait, that's not Henry Jones Jr. It's Billy Drago, who most people know from The Untouchables. And I know from Briscoe County Jr. And my fiance knows from Charm, because apparently everyone was in that show at some point. Billy plays Blackhand Kelly, a gunman hired via telegraph who just oozes with cowboy machismo.
I recommend that you keep that hog leg skinned, unless you got a desire to be jumping over hot coals in hell.
Now it's a Western. Yeehaw! Hiram asks for a demonstration of Kelly's gunfighting prowess. No, not my sausage! Man, unhealthy Doug's gonna be pissed. Hiram ponies up his double eagle coin to hire the gunslinger, and he and Juan agree to go with him graboid hunting.
Pick yourself out something that feels right in your hand.
As for Juan, here's a hat. No need to pay. It's a gift from Luan's character growth. Aw, that's nice. They set out to play cowboys and Precambrians, with Hiram embarrassing himself in front of Kelly, the man's man. And eventually they come across a hot spring with some hatched graboid eggs. Juan helps us keep track of how many creatures we should have on Bert's log.
There's 4. And I killed 1 already.
3 left.
Ooh, a trinity of worms. Wonder if the horde's nearby. Nope, just a wagon. But whose can that be?
Old Fred.
Uh-oh. Okay, I've seen the first movie, so I know where this is going.
Yeah.
All it takes is one look at that foreground hat to know that underneath it is old Fred's what?
Nope.
Where's his head? Okay, but in the last movie, his face was...
Ah!
Oh, well done, Tremors 4. Way to play with preconceived notions. Even though I'm not sure how the graboids were able to stage old Fred's head in such a manner. The men head
Don't
to a
ask
local
questions.
muling station to camp for the night, with Kelly infusing some words of wisdom into Hiram Gummer's DNA.
Always be prepared.
While they sleep, a graboid shows up to scare away the horses and try and snag Juan's hat. Everyone awakes with a start, and in the confusion, the snakeoid tentacle completes its mission. Kelly kapowskis the tentacles and feels his job here is done. But this is a different kind of situation. A graboid situation. They all fire their guns at the wormy interlopers, including Hiram, much to the dismay of Kelly and Juan.
You said to pick something I was comfortable with.
You're right. I did say that.
Kelly's impromptu firearm training session attracts a graboid that systematically removes the floor beams one by one. With time running out, Juan sends an SOS to town via telegraph, but the others don't know where it's coming from.
Surely the telegrapher from Carson City wouldn't allow such foolishness with his equipment.
Maybe not Carson City.
Perhaps it's from Bixby, maybe?
Oh!
Nope, sorry. Actually, Fuyin figures out it's from the muling station, prompting Christine to head out to protect her love interest, if that's still a thing we're doing. The telegraph tapping attracts a graboid, a beautiful, full-size practical puppet.
So
one at
good.
that. K&B reworked the original graboid mechanics by attaching this puppet to a Western dolly. How appropriate. With the help of 6 puppeteers, they made it blast through the balsa wood floor that was so fragile, the stunt performer had to be in a harness to hover above it. The tubs were a separate element filmed on a green screen and comped onto the graboid later by the returning Himani Productions from Part 3. See? They can do very good work. The graboid itself was made of fiberglass, latex, and foam, meticulously painted by hand. And once it got to set,
You just dump dirt all over it, and then it just sort of evens everything out. Then it's just a big brown slug.
and this big brown slug gives Spider Juan a run for his money. But Kelly is able to shoot the sucker into a full retreat. Kelly feels he was denied critical, need-to-know information about the creatures, and proceeds to shove some more birdisms into the Gummer DNA.
You got to know your enemy, Hiram. Ought to be toting some 8-bore firing solid shot or some damn punt gun.
This proto-Burt Gummer instigates a proto-planning scene where he decides to wait till they're up close to the beast in order to get a brain shot. And after another Tremor-style cut to morning where we wonder what the hell they've been doing all night, the Kelly gang readies themselves for a final showdown. But this former charm actor's actual charms attract a graboid that snags him with its tongue and sucks him into its mouth, where he fights for his life until it William Eugene burrows back into the ground, killing Kelly. Now this scene couldn't be accomplished with the original graboid design, which just had a bike seat for the actor to sit on. In order to actually swallow a person, K&B had to redesign their innards.
Little panels of material in there that will open up as our actor slides inside the mouth.
I love how much thought and care was put into the death of this very fun character. Nearby, Christine rides like a drunk Clara Clayton to the rescue as the boys fight off a rare shot featuring 2 graboids at once. This was achieved by using miniatures done by the returning 4 Ward Productions from Tremors 1. The miniature set was elevated, allowing puppeteers to ram the creatures through the floor with varying results. Still, seeing 2 massive graboids together is a beautiful sight. Juan and Hiram escape on Christine's wagon, but the graboids are still in hot pursuit. In this really fun shot done with a 6-foot-long practical puppet, the puppet was attached to a slot track with a separate cable going from its head to a curved piece of plywood, so that when it moved, the head would be pulled up and down.
Oh, that's clever.
Genius. Hiram then uses a slingshot to increase their ride's horsepower, and the graboids give up the chase with a dusty harumph. Back at Chang's, Hiram suggests everyone leaves town and starts their lives over, but Juan doesn't want the movie to end just yet.
No stupid animal is going to make me leave my land.
And neither does Pyong.
No place perfect.
Yeah, especially not rejection. Maybe if it had another name, it'd work. But in any event, no one's leaving. Well, except for Hiram, that is. And not even Fu Yin can convince him to stay.
Please don't leave us.
Yeah, you're the only reason people keep watching this franchise. The precocious pleading doesn't work, and Hiram takes his re-Grinchified heart to the local town of Valiant. Brilliant! Whatever. Hiram
Not
buys a
Bixby.
ticket to Chicago in order to study improv comedy, but his plans are dashed when a telegraph informs him that the worms are headed straight for rejection. Wanting to protect the townsfolk he's come to admire, Hiram grabs his watch and with the audience suggestion of firearms, he yes-ands his way back into the story. Hiram heads back to town, along with his stunt double, and arrives with a cart packed to the brim with
even noticed
firearms, giving us a small taste of that Burt we love so much.
One Henry repeater rifle. Smaller caliber, but impressive rate of fire. And this, a 2-inch bore punt gun.
This massive shotgun was originally used in the 19th century to shoot large amounts of ducks and geese for commercial harvesting, and all it cost Hiram was his final worldly possession.
A wise friend once told me it's not important how you spend your money, but how you spend your life.
Character arc complete, and tab wiped clean. Time for the last stand. Yeah! Oh, and Juan, here's a hat, because you know that's your whole thing. Try not to fucking lose it this time, all right? That night we get a good old-fashioned planning scene, just like Mom used to make. The plans range from dumb,
We go out there and shoot them.
to just plain mean.
Stick a horse out there, and when they go for it,
To Copa, that's cruel.
They finally decide to lure the graboids in with a little third-chair triangle and take them down just like the Alamo.
We were the losers at the Alamo.
Speak for yourself, gringo.
Fu Yin goes on
Ha!
a beander to get enough cans to create a graboid alert system. After a quick gun-loading montage, Burt nuzzles up to his new man cannon and they ring the dinner bell. Unfortunately, the graboids are delayed, having taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque. But eventually they show up when the townsfolk are completely unprepared, especially Fu Yin, who has no idea how to hold a rifle. The graboid bursts through the ground, in an effect achieved with a miniature since the actual ground was made of solid rock, so they couldn't blast through it without also blasting through their budget. Full scale or not, Burt fires, only to completely miss and send the graboid burrowing away. Tacopa is none too pleased.
you missed with a cannon!
Best line of the movie. Hiram gets a second chance as he reloads and fires just in time to give us an ooey gooey graboid spewy death to add to the hunting log. Aw, looks so sad there. Everyone celebrates and goes to admire the practical effects, forgetting that we have 2 more to go. The second graboid attacks Hiram and takes the punt gun out of the game, before chasing Juan up a telegraph pole and slowly sinking it into the ground. A gag that writers Maddock and Wilson tried to get into previous Tremors scripts. Seeing Juan, Tacopa hot springs into action with a goddamn plan. He puts a 2-man saw down the hole we saw him digging earlier,
So good.
and he misery whips the side of it, and the resulting noise causes the graboid to plow full force into it. We get a kill confirmation when the pumpkin juice they called blood bubbles to the surface. Everyone celebrates again, forgetting there's still another one out there, specifically behind Tacopa. It grabs him and drags him Jaws style over to the market and ostensibly slurps him down. The townsfolk mourn the loss of this man who is definitely not a flagpole quitter. That is until the graboid regurgitates the cigar store Indian, and Tacopa reveals himself to be very much alive. Huh, I guess the statue really did look like him. They all regroup on the ground like idiots while the graboid circles the town. Without the punt gun, they seem SOL, but Tacopa paraphrases another Burtism to inspire them.
Must do what we can with what we have.
I love that all the Burt quotes that we know and
Same.
love were just stolen from others and then passed along through his DNA. That could be considered cultural appropriation. The new plan is to blow up the graboid with a giant firecracker to celebrate being Americans. While Fu Yin is off looking for a fuse, this very prominent telegraph goes off. The graboid must have been waiting for that call since it beelines for the market and tears down the set like it's the last day of filming. Fu Yin is trapped inside, hiding from the snakeoid tentacle, which was again brought to life with both a hand puppet and a cable-controlled version.
Whoa. That's the drunk version.
The townsfolk make noise, but being Stumpy's great-grandfather, this graboid knows better. Luckily, Fu Yin finds a knife and cuts himself free. Woo! That was intense. Oh. Editor Bree?
Enough of these puns already.
I'm probably still gonna do more puns. The graboid gives
Puns are
chase
fun.
and corners Christine, Luan, and Fu Yin. Seems this graboid's old-fashioned and firmly believes women and children should go first. Into its belly! Christine takes out one of the tentacles with a rifle, but it's not until the graboid moons the boys with its ass end that Hiram has an idea plan. He slowly backs up the steam traction engine while Juan and Tacopa run around shooting the unearthed worm, which is pretty dumb. I mean, why is it just sitting there and taking it?
I don't know.
Maybe the dolly operator was on a union break. Eventually, they get their act together and attach some ice block tongs to a rubber band. Burt gooses the graboid with the tongs, while the graboid snags Fu Yin. They thread the band into the steam engine and start a game of tug-of-war that drags the graboid across the town and slams it into the steam engine, giving us an explosive entry for Burt's hunting log. The PAs chuck goop and monster chunks at the actors, who celebrate another amazing practical effect done with quarter-scale miniatures. After a nice and slimy shot of the worm remains, everyone gathers together to share some Michael Gross and just plain gross hugs. Oh, and don't forget about Juan's running joke.
Which joke?
He always loses his
the
hat.
hat joke.
As he gives his hat to Fu Yin. Well, looks like the early gummer got his worm.
Oh, no. We got him.
Aw, he's learned to not be such a selfish prick. And so Pyong sings some Da Hu Do Race on the steam whistle, and we transition mist away. Later, Hiram tells the townsfolk that he's decided to stay and reopen the mine, as long as they don't tell anyone about the dirt dragons. And as long as they rebuild Chang's Market, a proper hotel for Christine, and Tacopa, what do you want?
A new statue.
And I want it built so tall that it blocks out the sun and covers the world in darkness.
Oh, God.
Has everyone agreed to this?
Yes, so, as next we see the town is renamed Perfection. But better not tell anyone for another 13 years, since that's when the first movie said it was founded. The movie ends with a lesson in shooting and another lesson in love, as Hiram describes the new house he's going to build in town.
It will even have a basement.
It's an awful lot of room for one person.
But ideally, it won't be for just one.
Hubba hubba. The final shot reminds us of what makes the Gummer family great. Guns! As we end things on a fun sequence of Hiram firing this old-timey Gatling gun and laughing himself into a freeze frame. How many hats did Juan lose in Tremors 4? Who cares? We're here to count kills. But first, I'm gonna catch one of them little dirt dragons. Yeah!
All right.
Oh, this should have been the ostrich bit in the Tremors 2 kill count, right? Ah!
Right, oh!
Oh! All right, well, 14 people died in Tremors 4, all men, because women weren't allowed to work in the mines, giving us yet another chart that is as blue as the Nevada flag. With a runtime of 101 minutes, that gave us a kill on average every 7.2 minutes. Bert's hunting log adds 3 full-size graboids and 1 little baby graboid, grablet, shooter, dirt dragon, you know, whatever you want to call it. It gave us a fistful of graboid kills every 25.3 minutes. We'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Old Fred. It's a great misdirect from the original Tremors and a solid severed head by K&B Effects. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to the miners killed off screen, which was a major disappointment. Bert's hunting trophy goes to Stumpy's great-grandfather, who was splattered by the steam traction engine. A return to the inventive practical deaths of franchise yore. That also got director Wilson his money's worth from that damn traction engine rental. And that's it. Tremors 4: The Legend Begins came out in 2004 and was the last time the original creators were involved with the franchise. The series would then take an 11-year hiatus and return with an entirely new crew and, of course, Bert Gummer. But I'll be taking a look at that in 2 weeks. Until then, I'm a man who desperately wants to take off this mustache. Yeah! This has been the Kill Count. Yeah.
On the next Kill Count.
After 4 films and 11 years of development, how do you build upon the Tremors franchise foundation of love and family cultivated by its original creators?
For us, it was something special.
Well, how about we fire them and get the director of Kindergarten Cop 2?
Well, I guess that's a wrap.
Oh, far from it. How about we add Jamie Kennedy to give us some fresh pop culture references the kids will love?
You binge watch Breaking Bad again? You trying to appeal to the younger demographic? Get a little pit bull on us?
Oh, and California's too expensive, so let's move everything to South Africa for the tax breaks.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Also, let's redesign the graboids and the ass blasters, lose the shriekers, and make them all CGI.
What's next? Graboids that talk?
But hey, keep Bert. Wouldn't want to mess with this franchise too much.
I like your style.
This week, watch Jurassic Park. Oh, sorry, Tremors 5 Bloodlines.
Sure.
A different kind of Tremors movie.
Definitely an acquired taste.
And after you wash that out of your mouth, tune in Friday, March 11th for the Kill Count, only on Dead Meat.
This is a bag of dicks.
Tremors.
Well, it does not look like I'm going to enjoy this movie whatsoever, but who knows? I have been surprised in the past. But as far as this one goes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love Wild West movies, so this was right up my alley. I love the fact that, like you said, they went back to basics to basically retell the story of everything here. We got an explanation as to why nobody knew about graboids before the very first movie. It was fun seeing Michael Gross play basically take a 180 on Bert with not really shooting anything, not really even being a good horse rider, just not being the way we know Bert to be, and also seeing some of the ancestors and a lot of different references from the original movies. It was just a lot of fun to see, because if you really pay attention, it's one of those things to where it's like, oh, I recognize that. Oh, I recognize that one person. I recognize that one name. You know, you get rewarded for paying attention to these movies, and that's one of those things that I truly, truly love. But that's going to do it for me here. Before I go, though, I want to give a huge shout out to all my $5 and up supporters on Patreon: Marvin Espinosa, Cruising, Wolverine 310, Lauren Davenport, Castor Cronage, Amber K, Raymond Bright, Daquan Johnson, Colton McBride, Joshua Teese, and my lone channel member, King Booth 336, P909. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support. Really do appreciate you. And if you too like have your name read at each and every one of my videos, plus many other fun goodies, maybe even react to a past kill count or two, please head on over to patreon.com/DDNReactor. The link will be right there in the description, or you can right below this video, click that join button there, or head right over my channel page and click that join button there. And with that being said, comment down below, let me know where does this rank on your Tremors movie list. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Also want to see past reactions on the other Dead Meat videos. Got a nice playlist right over there full of them for you. Share this video, subscribe if you subscribed already, ring notification bell because I put new videos every single day, and I'll see you guys next time.